far north Australia has some of the biggest ocean-going crocs in the world. And I'm checking out the population. With any luck, I'm gonna swim with a big wild salty in the open sea. Now, I've got big fellas at home too, and they just want to kill me, and sometimes each other. You're gonna find out why. Salties, the nickname for the Australian saltwater crocodile, the biggest, most awesome survivor on Earth, living links to the age of dinosaurs. These crocodiles date back over 100 million years. They are the true rulers of their domain. When you look at a full-grown male salty, you're looking at the king of Australia, the largest crocodile species in the world, the most ferocious predator of all. Crocodiles, I love them. I grew up at Australia Zoo, 50 k's north of Brisbane, and my dad taught me everything there is to know about crocs before he handed over the reins. G'day, and welcome to Australia Zoo, my home. Check out the size of that bloke. Let's go and have a look. Hey. Since we started, millions of people have come away from Australia Zoo with a new appreciation of crocodiles. Our aim is to demonstrate their behaviour in a naturalistic environment, to educate people to conserve these magnificent creatures for years to come. To keep our big, beautiful male crocodiles psychologically happy and healthy, we have to mimic as close to their natural conditions as possible, which means I've got to go in there with them while they strike and try and take me out. They look, see and smell, and then they go into an ambush position. They strike their food so hard and fast that there is no animal in the wild kingdom that can avoid the power and strength of those jaws. They strike so quick that nothing but nothing can get out of the way quick enough. They are power. Power personified. And this bloke's 16 feet and nothing hits harder than him. What I've got to do is try and mimic a wild animal on the bank and get him to strike at me just like he'd have to do in the wild to catch a feed. Here he comes, lining me up and whack! Oh, huge big animal can strike so fast you're barely able to get out of the way. Now, once a year, we try to mimic as close to the crocodile's natural food source as possible. They require that for good psychological being, for good chunks of fur, feather, bone and gut content. So, we head off to the local abattoir and grab some humanely killed wild pigs. Bring them back here and throw them in, holus bolus. And don't the crocs love it? Not only is it good for their karma, but it's great for their tummy and their whole physical condition. Have a go at this. Woo, this is Charlie, also known as Psycho Charlie. He suffered a lot of psychological damage from being held in a small concrete enclosure for too many years without any water. This torture made him a very angry croc. When we got him to our crocodile paradise, it was the first time he'd felt grass under his feet, the poor fella. Crocs' teeth are designed for grabbing and holding. They're no use for chewing. Their food has to be swallowed whole or torn into smaller chunks. Just see how Charlie does it. Woo! Oh, that split it open. His teeth are as long and as fat as my thumb. Whack! It's off! And this just... What do you say? It's awesome. You can see why I get a little dirty on people raising crocs, trying to turn them into boots, bags and belts so rich people can wear them around. Oh gosh, I hate that. This is the crocodile. This is what they're all about. It's really hard to express how much I love him, but seriously, if I could kiss him on the lips, I would. I really, really would. And he won't return that to me. If I make a mistake in his territory, he'll take me out. Not only am I a viable food source, but I'm a threat to his territory. He doesn't want me coming in here and mating with his girls. They're good-looking Sheilas, and quite rightly, he would defend them. Nice one, Charlie. Here we go. Good hit. Here it is. He's a naughty boy, isn't he? I think he went for the big bit then. You're a naughty boy, I saw that. He's a funny croc, isn't he? You're naughty. I think he was pretty keen to grab me that time. How's that?
Make sure he's got the pig, Steve.
Yeah, copy that. Notice, I've got people strategically around me. I get so excited that I kind of forget sometimes. They're all keeping an eye on me, and their weapons are their mouth. Make sure he's got the food, Steve. That's my cue to back up. Because if I make a mistake and a croc grab me, all the work I've done goes down the tubes. Everyone's going to go, we knew a croc would get him. And I can't have that happen.
Adult crocs don't need to be fed all that often. They can survive almost a year between feeds. But to keep them psychologically stimulated and active, I feed them far more often than that. And they never say no to a quick snack. In here somewhere is Acco. Of all the crocs here at the zoo, he's the biggest. Coming in at over 16 feet and over a ton in weight, he's all teeth and muscle. He's the king of Australia Zoo.
Imagine if your body was in that. Whack! You'd just go and explode on impact.
And to think his head weighs as much as my entire body.
Here we go. Look out in front there. See that movement? Here he comes. I got him.
When Acco hits, he is easily the most powerful animal on the face of the earth.
Whoa! And that means get out of my territory. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
This is Murray, and he's by far the meanest of all of me big blokes. Now, before I rescued him, everybody wanted him dead. Catching him didn't come easy either. It took every bit of strength I could muster. Whoa! Mean Murray explodes out of his billabong. With slow motion and clear water, we can see how they launch themselves into the air from a standing start. Normally, crocodiles strike from muddy water, ambush predators who rely on speed and surprise. But in this special environment, you can actually see how they use their short, powerful legs and their tail to lunge forward for over half their body length. You gotta be moving or you'd be hit dead in your tracks. This is aggro. That's short for aggression. He's 14 feet long and over 600 kilos. I caught him back in 1988 after he began stalking boats. He hits like a ton of bricks. He's quick, he's gnarly, and he never misses a trick, constantly changing his strategy to try and get his teeth into me. Nowadays, aggro strikes from every different angle to try and get me. He comes head on, but the worst one is when he comes side on. Oh, too close. That could have been a deadly strike. He never misses a beat, this bloke. And now let's see what happens when we throw a bit of tucker into the equation.
You see, here he comes. He's like an Exocet missile.
Now here's fair income wild croc behaviour. You can see how they hunt their prey and why they deserve respect out in the wild.
There's a good boy. Here.
I take great pride in the way I feed crocodiles. I go round their territory so they get to use their instincts, their hunting, their ambush techniques. It's good for them, but it's pretty hard on me. You gotta stay on your toes, because this bloke never misses a trick. He's always trying new, cunning manoeuvres to grab me. Woo! What a kick. In here somewhere, there's a beautiful crocodile called Graham. I can see some bubbles coming up. Bubbles coming around here. Here he comes, here he comes. Right. Crikey, it's hard to imagine that I caught Graham by hand when he was only a little tacker. He's grown fast, and he's one of the fastest strikers I've ever known. And there's nothing he loves more than demonstrating how salties can launch vertically straight up out of the water and pluck a duck mid-flight. They're that good at getting food. What? Hear those jaws coming together? And he uses his tail to pole vault straight out of the dirty water and hit with deadly accuracy. Way back in 1992, I made a huge mistake. A case of the jaws quicker than the eye. Graham was in an ambush position, flew out, grabbed my hand, tried to pull me back into the water, perhaps to kill me. But luckily I landed on his head and I got away with my life. Graham's never forgiven me for getting away with just a wounded hand. Graham is powerful and fast. Deadly fast. He's tasted my blood. He's had his teeth in my flesh, and at every opportunity, he tries to go it again. As you'll find out later, when next time it's serious. After the break, we'll be heading off to study giant salties out in the open ocean. Some of the biggest wild crocs you've ever seen. Terry and I are leaving the zoo and packing for an adventure to Cape York Peninsula, the very tip of Australia. Our aim is to survey saltwater crocodiles in the open waters of the South Pacific, an area untouched by humans. We'll be checking out the population status and hopefully I'll get to study a big salty close up in the open sea. It's over 1,500 miles to Cape York, and you're looking at a minimum of 4 days on the road just to get there. Brisbane.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Good
not
to see
bad
you
at
again.
all.
Yeah. So what do you reckon? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm in
You
there.
guys jump in and let's go and
Righto.
find you some Crocs, eh?
Good stuff.
How are you, Terry?
This is one of the great characters of the North. Everyone calls him Brisbane. I don't know why. He's just Brisbane. You haven't got any better looking, mate.
No, mate, I'll tell you what. I'm not aging well at all.
This is the only way to cover a lot of ground up here. The whole area is totally isolated, and even four-wheel drives wouldn't get through. We're still a few miles from the coast, and en route we'll be heading over the inland swamps, which are home to all sorts of wildlife, including crocs. Pigs, a herd of them, foraging in the salty swamplands behind the beach. Whoa, crocs just love eating them. And these aren't your average domestic porkers. They're wild, tough, they bite, got tusks, and they call the big blokes razorbacks. And if I'm real careful, hopefully we'll get to see one up close. But don't count on it, because these things really bite. Unfortunately, they're a feral species and they destroy large tracts of natural habitat. And they can carry diseases like foot and mouth. They're one of the worst introduced pests in Australia. You're all right. Come on, mate. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. Have a look at this girl. Isn't she gorgeous? She's got a beautiful haircut. You can see why they get the name Razorback. You're okay. Isn't she beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. You're all right, you're all right. And it's a lactating female. Don't bite me now. So you can see her little... Oh, you don't like me playing with those, do you? She's got some babies around here. Look at those hooves. Oh, gosh, I love pigs. I just love them. You're a good girl.
Go on then. Hey. Get out of it. Get out. Run. Hey. Now, no fighting. Quick. She's a little bit funny, a little bit grumpy. I think she wanted to bite me.
Now we're off to a freshwater lake close to the coast. The perfect place for crocs to ambush pigs and other food sources like birds and snakes. And we spot some really big salties. Just because they're called saltwater crocodiles doesn't mean they don't like fresh water. They're perfectly at home in any water as long as the climate's warm enough for breeding. They're found in most tropical regions. And then we spot one of the biggest wild crocs I've ever seen. He's in an area where there's nowhere to hide. Normally he'd slide down deeper and conceal himself under the reeds, but it's too shallow. Have a go at the size of him. Brizaka takes us down a bit closer, and the croc decides he can warn us off with a good threat display. And if we get too close, he'll even try to take out the chopper. This is one croc that's best left alone.
Oh, smokes, what a steamer. All I could say was 16 foot plus. There's no way he liked the chopper. He's just trying to fight it as the weeds were moving. He was chomping down on them. His scoots were huge. Big old croc. And he alternates from that swamp into the tidal lagoon, probably even into the ocean. Some of the biggest crocs I've ever seen.
Here we go. Check this out for a crocodile track. This area is home to the largest crocodiles in the world. They look big from above, but when you get onto ground level, you can get an idea of the enormity of the animal.
Ooh, I've seen a few slides, a few big slides. Myself and Dad up in the Gulf, Cape York Peninsula, but I tell you what, this one takes the cake. This is absolutely massive. So when they walk, they tuck their legs in alongside their belly, so his belly reaches out right out here. That is one big crocodile. And he's hauled himself out of the water, come up this sandbar, straight up into the creek, and heading right out towards the ocean. This is huge, absolutely mammoth. Have a look at this. You can see his tail swooshing one side to the other. You can see the dirt where his back legs, look how big those feet are. His back feet are sunk in there and pushed the dirt out to the back. That's how come I know he's gone this way. And it's fresh, really fresh. He's just in front of us somewhere. Imagine if he was out in the ocean when we get out there. Big slide.
This was probably the biggest crocodile slide I've ever seen. Saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptile on the earth. They can grow over 18 feet, and I guess that's about all I could say. 18 foot plus. Whoa, we just spotted something that demonstrates the awesome power that a saltwater crocodile really has. It's a big croc, and he's been feeding on a full-grown sea turtle.
It's a big croc, all right.
And the croc's still here. He won't move far from his kill. And even though he might protect his meal, I'm gonna risk going down for a closer look.
You can see this big, standard, horseshoe-shaped slide, and it's from a 16-footer. I'd say 16 plus. And have a look around here. I'm just surrounded by turtle gizzards. There is entrails absolutely everywhere. Have a look at this. I'm not game to go out too much further because I don't want to get within range. Whatever killed this turtle was big, really big. Big enough to crunch through the shell and eat the entire front part of it. Have a look at the teeth marks that are gouged right into its plastering. You can see the legs have been ripped off. Big female turtle. Still blood coming out of it. Tell you what, I'm nervous. Just that little bit too close to the water for my liking. Big croc could be sitting there in ambush and you'd never know it. And this mud is boggy, really boggy.
Terry's brought the boat around, and being down at shore level gives us the perfect opportunity to investigate the dense mangroves surrounding the estuaries. Mangroves are a very special type of forest found on sheltered coastlines and river mouths. They thrive in salty water thanks to their huge network of exposed roots that filter out salt. A whole host of tiny creatures emerge from the exposed mud once the tide retreats.
The real action in the mangroves is at the shoreline below the surface. The dense vegetation lining the tidal riverbanks are the nurseries of the ocean. A huge number of fish and crustaceans spend the early parts of their lives in the twisted tangle of roots. There is so much prey of every size that mangroves make the perfect home for baby and juvenile crocodiles.
It's amazing to think that a big percentage of commercially caught fish spend some time here in the mangroves or rely on food from these coastal forests. And any fish that are weak or injured will be snapped up by Crocs. And this one's lost his sense of balance. He's a prime snack just waiting for the inevitable. By cleaning up the place, saltwater crocodiles play a vital role in the mangrove ecosystem. At low tide, birds forage on the mudflats. Cape York Peninsula is a massive wilderness where isolation has created a great wildlife reserve, and the mangroves are among the richest environments in the tropics. The bird life here has learned to coexist with crocodiles, which is very important because a pelican on the water is just as much a croc meal as a fish down below. These mangroves are full of crocs, but when we approach, their first instinct is to disappear. This is their home territory, and that makes it almost impossible to get up close in a powerboat.
Suey's been in plenty of croc territory before, and she's on the lookout too. The sound of the outboard tells the crocodiles we're coming, and by the time we get there, they're gone, and there's only a slide to tell us where they've been and what they've been doing. This one's gone up over the bank, probably into an inland sunning position. So I'm going to sneak through the mangroves, through the foliage, and see if I can observe. And there he is. It's a real beauty. That mouth gaping is part of how they regulate their body temperature. They cool their brain by letting moisture evaporate from the mouth while warming the rest of their body in the heat of the sun. Like dogs pant, elephants flap their ears, crocodiles open their mouths to thermoregulate. They've got an awesome tooth structure, huge, great penetrating teeth, just like my fingers, designed to grab, hold and kill large food sources like big mammals. And check out those teeth. Crocodiles' bite is awesome. One of the most powerful forces in the animal kingdom. They sink those teeth deep into their prey and then head shake, literally tearing it apart. And the jaw pressure, incredible, 3,000 pounds per square inch whack in the jaws. At the tooth tips, whew, that'd be mind-blowing.
After the break, we catch up with the big boys and I decide to take a closer look until things get a little too close for comfort. Dusk is a great time for crocodiles. They're just starting to get active after basking out on the banks, catching the afternoon sun. And when the sun finally sets, we find it even easier to get up close. Using spotlights, we can cruise around right up to them. The same crocodile that'll slide away and hide invisibly in daylight will just sit there at night. Ooh, now that's a big bloke. Some serious eye shine. A special layer at the back of their eye reflects light back into the front section, and that's how we can see it. Their eyesight is amazing. At night, they can spot prey 100 metres away.
This cute little blighter is not far past the hatchling stage. Its survival instincts are already well developed and it's out hunting food wherever it can find it. Baby crocodiles are real little battlers. From the moment they emerge from the egg, they're looking for prey. And if you get close enough, they won't hesitate to sink their tiny little teeth right into your finger.
Have a look at this little blighter. He's hunting insects and little bugs right at the surface of the water. Now, he'll hunt anything that's smaller than he is and that he can overpower easily. Doesn't matter whether it's crustaceans, spiders, virtually anything. Even these little fish are in danger. And it's all about instincts. Just about everything you see here is the micro version of the behaviour shown by fully grown crocodiles.
How's the way the little blighter waited in the shallows, whack, snapped out? This is perfect training for his ambush techniques because when he gets to be an adult, he's gonna be ambushing big prey sources like wild pigs, kangaroos and stuff. And have a look at this swimming style. He's just like his dad.
Sneaking up on these crocs is so easy. They think they can hide in the darkness. With the spotlight, their eye shine is such a giveaway, they don't even realise we're onto them.
Spotlighting's a great way to check the health of crocodile populations. And in this stretch of mangroves, everything looks great. There's plenty of babies and plenty of food for them to survive and thrive.
Ooh, this one's a little bigger. 12, maybe 18 months of age. Eat good-sized prawns. They love to eat prawns. Sit in the shallows, whack, strike out at them.
decent-sized fish, take small rodents, little reptiles, frogs. Love to eat amphibians if he gets up into the fresh water. At this juvenile stage of life, they have to be opportunistic. Baby crocs will take on anything that moves and that they can easily overpower. They have to, or they wouldn't survive. A beautiful morning for what should hopefully be a very special day. With any luck, I'll get a chance to fulfill a childhood dream, swimming with a big wild salty in the open sea. I can hardly wait to get out of the mangroves and onto the beaches. This is where the really big boys hang out. Brizaka's bringing the chopper around to the beach so we can get back into the air for some serious salty spotting. We continue our search in the mangroves and estuaries. It isn't long before we start spotting mature crocs. And it's a big one. It's a big salty, all right. He's heading out offshore, looking for fish, crustaceans, maybe even turtles. Whoa, he spotted us. And the power that he derives from that tail tucks his legs right back in and he's heading back towards the mangroves where he can hit the camouflage of the deep, dirty water. And from the air, we get a good overall picture of their entire habitat. Oh, and it's another beauty, skimming through the murky water. Our survey confirms the adult population is healthy. The main reason they're holding their own in Cape York Peninsula is the lack of people pressure. As youngsters, they may have their enemies in the wild, but that's not going to threaten the species or even a local population. The biggest threat to the crocodile is conflict with humans, and especially destruction of habitat. This bloke hates the chopper. He strikes and heads straight back into the mangroves.
See these coastal lagoons, there's a thin peninsula of sand and the crocs actually traverse to and fro there. Great place for an ambush and they've got great cover out in the ocean and in the lagoon.
And here's another monster, another 16-foot plus crocodile, and he's out in the ocean looking for a feed. There's plenty of food for ocean-going crocodiles, and if we're going to share space with them, we'll need to be very accurate and careful about where and what we do.
We've just spotted a big fresh slide on the beach, so I'm going down to take a closer look.
There he is, you can just see his head sticking out of the mangroves. Look. He's watching us, he's staring right at us. And this is the art of the crocodile. They'll sit and wait, ambush predators, probably crawled over here early this morning, and at night, anything crosses this beach, whack, big hit. Big, beautiful animal, impressive. There's his tail mark, where he heads straight back over to the ocean. Look across here.
It seems so strange to see a croc on the beach like this, but remember, this is an isolated area with no people for hundreds of miles, and that makes the crocodile behave differently to when he lives close to human populations, which are a threat.
Whoop, I've moved in too fast. He had a bit of a thrash and now he's off. Look at him go, straight out through the breakers. Terry's brought the dinghy round, and with the chopper spotting for us, we've got a great chance of catching up to the crocodiles. And I'm one step closer to doing something I've always wanted to do. Share space with a crocodile, underwater, one-on-one. Here's my chance. She's coming up. Here it is, yes, it's a female. It's an adult female. She'd be around about 10 feet. Cruise in. She's onto us. She's diving down to the bottom to try and see camouflage on the bottom. Here's my chance. Woo! It's about a 10-footer, maybe a little more. And she's not worried, she's just cruising along. Look at the way she's using her feet, just plodding along the bottom. It's like a dinosaur. It's just like being with a dinosaur underwater. She's using her transparent eyelids. She's got like goggles on, they can see through that protective eyelid. I'm getting in close, really close. She's not worried. She's very calm. Here she goes, she's up for a breath. Look at her little arms tucked in. Uh-oh, you see her opening up her mouth. That's a sign, that's a demonstration. These are my teeth. Stay back or I will bite you. I'm gonna have to keep my distance. That's a body posture. She's warning me. Beautiful animal. She's heading slowly towards the river mouth. Using her tail, that big, powerful, rudder-like tail, those web-back feet enable her to just plod along. Wow. Oh, she's opening her mouth up. She's showing me her teeth, but I've got Terry right there, keeping an eye on her. It's important that Terry keeps very vigilant and looks for any signs that she's going to have a go. I'm also relying on my sixth sense to alert me to any potential attack. Under she goes. She's got a breath. She's going to go back down to the bottom. This is amazing. She could just one flick of her tail and be 30 metres away from me just in the flash, so quick that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere near her. She's using the dark, deep water and the rocks and the seaweed to blend, to camouflage. Oh, here we go. That's a threat. She's focused straight back on me. Mouth ajar, teeth, and that's a back off or I could bite. She's happy enough that she's kept me at bay. She's going for air. Woohoo! I can't believe this. She is not showing any signs of aggression whatsoever. If you can imagine one flash of teeth and she could rip my arm off. But no, she's happy enough. She's just cruising along. Look at the power in that tail. They can swim for miles, miles and miles. Steady, steady. They're a naturally lazy animal. They don't expel energy unless they need to. And so she's like spring-loaded. She just keeps a very good eye on me, make sure I don't get too close. She's heading back down towards the bottom, back into the weed. Oh, she's turned. Oh, strike! That was the ultimate warning. Now she's back arching. She's showing me how big her back is, and that's a threat. She could have bitten me. She could have chomped down on me, no worries at all. But she decided, that was too close, straight over my goggles. I'll have to get out. She rules. What a good result. Our surveys uncovered just what we hoped for. The juvenile population is thriving, the adults are going well, which is very unlike further down the Queensland coast where they're seriously being affected by people. And this girl didn't feel threatened by me. She could have been off like a shot, but she chose to hang around. It's when Crocs feel enclosed that problems really start. And back at the zoo, our matchmaking program hits a snag. Graham's up to his old tricks, but this time it's much more serious. It's when Crocs are enclosed that they get very protective of their territory. Here at the zoo, we have no choice but to keep the bigger animals separated and contained, or each of them would try and take over the whole park. So unlike in the wild, it's up to us to find suitable mating partners, and putting two Crocs together isn't always that straightforward. Two of our Croc keepers, Brian and Kelsey, are gonna catch Cassie and see if she likes another one of our Crocs, Bluey. Woo! Matchmaking crocodiles. Good jump, Brino. Well, watch your hands, mate. He's got him, he's got him. They got her. Cassie's a beautiful, quiet little female, which we think will get on pretty well with Bluey. Okay, up. So we're going to take her straight over and drop her in with Bluey and see what happens. Let's hope Bluey doesn't strike. Here we go. And let her go.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
All I got to do is just try and get that one little blue rope out. It's out. Right, she's ready to go. You got her, Wes.
Okay, I'm out. Wes, you call it. Okay,
go, Wes.
Everyone out except one person. You stay on it, Brian.
Yeah, I'll go
okay, you go to your right. I'll go to the left. 1, 2, 3, go.
And she's in. When you put two Crocs together for the first time, sometimes they get on and sometimes they don't. And in this case, we got World War III on our hands. This is exactly what they do in the wild. Headbutt each other. And they mean business. It's like, oh, steel on steel.
Seems to me that Cassie's being the aggressor. Yeah. She's actually hitting him. He's just holding his ground. He's doing a great job. We're going to go again.
Oh,
she's been
hear
aggressive.
that.
What do you reckon I go around and put her in the water? Yep, great. Okay. You'll be my backup if anything happens in West. Yep. You right, Stewie? I'm going.
Doesn't that sound just bone crunching? And so we're going to try and break it up by putting one of the Crocs in the water.
You want to fight? You pick on me, sweetheart. Hey, come on, then.
Watch it, Steve-O.
Quick. I think you both better go in the water. Here you go. You go in too. Quick, quick. I'll catch you. I'll catch both of you.
That's good.
This is the first time they've actually had a biff together since they've been in, so maybe they could even be just feeling out the waters with any luck.
Oh, nah. They're going to fight in the water. Crocodiles have been fighting like this in the wild for millions of years. This is how they sort out dominance and territory. And this is why, in a natural environment, you'll never ever get an overpopulation of crocodiles.
Here we go.
They'll hit each other till they destroy each other.
Looks like they're going to keep going, mate. Do you want to move them?
Let's give them a bit, very little blood. So see, breaking a couple of ticks. Oh! Crikey, they hit hard. They don't back off. None of them are backing off. That's dead serious. That's it. Right, I split them up. That's dead serious.
If they don't work it out, we're going to have to sort something out really quickly.
Grab that tail.
Yeah.
Go 1, 2, 3, up.
There's no ifs, buts, mights or maybes. If we left them together, they could kill each other. But here's where I make a critical mistake. We've got no ropes on him. We've just blindfolded him, pushed him up inside the box, and I'm assuming that he can't get out. What a mistake. Yeah, you swap with Brendo.
Yep.
You're gonna see some really quick thinking coming up here. Life-saving quick thinking.
Okay, Toby.
See those blokes on their knees? That guy there, Toby, curator of crocodiles, legend in his own right.
Okay, now when we say...
Watch what happens
that
here.
box forward.
Now, turn around, turn around.
Oh, I had to jam my foot in the croc's mouth, otherwise it would have grabbed Toby on the head. Have a look at those holes. Straight through the leather.
These are the best boots in the world. I'd strongly recommend this. 8-foot crocodile hanging on me shoe, just shaking it. And I'm not bleeding. Bruised, but not bleeding. Good boots.
If I hadn't have done it, that would have been Toby's head.
That intervention turned out to be a success, but sometimes things do go badly wrong. And when Crocs are involved, the outcome is often deadly serious. Remember Graham? The only Croc to ever get the better of me. Well, this time he uses the cover of darkness and nearly gets away with murder.
Looking back on that night, Wes and I still get goosebumps. A flood of biblical proportions, water like no man has ever seen before, flowing through Graham's new environment. We were already nervous. The Crocs were on edge. They're just loving the flood water because the land becomes water, which becomes their territory. We had to go in. We had to clean the debris. That night we went in, by crikey, it was just sheer instinct that Wes got his leg and his life back.
His lucky escape made the national news.
The boss who saved a Sunshine Coast man from the jaws of a crocodile says he was just acting on instinct.
We've been here since 1970 and we've been dealing with floods virtually every single year. And this one took the cake. It was an absolute steamer. I mean, this is a flood where human fatality took place. Crocs love floodwaters. I mean, that's when they take over the land. We jumped in, we started cleaning debris out of the fence. Seconds later, Graham has snuck in, whack, and hit Wes right in the thigh.
Those teeth punctured Wes in the buttocks and leg. Irwin did what he does best, jumping on the Croc's back.
When the Croc's hit, he's kind of driven him, and so instantaneously I've just jumped, grabbed hold of the Croc right around the back legs and hung onto his back legs. Wes actually rolled out of the crocodile's mouth, which gave me the opportunity to grab hold of his leg, pull it up, grab hold of our safety equipment, which is one of these. We call it a safety stick. Grabbed hold of his leg and I've just started jamming him. Wes got up into the fence. Now this is the most critical point. Wes has got onto the fence. He's taken a big set of punctures in his leg. And then he pivoted on the fence, and when I looked up, he was on the fence, staring back down at me, ready to jump back in.
Yeah, really good.
I got to save my best mate's life, and Wes is tough, rugged, made of the right stuff, and he made a full recovery really quick.
I mean, Crocs are like people. He believed that night he won, and he got me out of his territory, which is good for him. You know, I mean, that's his job, and that's a crocodile's job. So he did the best thing. He got me and Steve out of his enclosure as quickly as he wanted us to. So that's good for his psyche.
There isn't one croc in Australia Zoo that wouldn't kill me given half a chance. Without any human conflict, the croc population in Cape York is thriving, producing some of the biggest and healthiest wild crocs I've ever seen, and swimming with that female. Mate, another dream fulfilled. If only Graham could learn to be that tolerant. But that's just Graham.
He's got the last bite on us.